There are more than 1 billion cars in this world of ours, from electric gliders to power sliders, and pretty much everything in between. I'm Tiff Needell.
Hello everybody, hello!
And with my good friend Paul Woodman,
What could possibly go wrong?
plus a few fellow car lovers, we're on another mission to bring you the fastest, loudest, most exclusive cars on the planet. Oh, and this lot too. From high peaks to millionaires' retreats, our quest has taken us far and wide, stopping at nothing to bring you the ultimate automotive experiences. On the road today, Alex plugs into the world of EV charging.
Let the electrons flow.
In Wales, Paul regrets skipping all those science lessons.
How is this possible in terms of physics?
I join Vicky for an argument in the new Maserati.
It could do with more horsepower.
What means 630 horsepower is not enough for you?
And Nick experiences life as a rock and roll roadie.
Where's all the equipment going to go?
But first, Paul and I head to America to tick a few cars off our all-time bucket list. These days, it's not unusual for a supercar to reach speeds of around 200 miles an hour, which is more than fast enough for most people. But what if you do want to go that little bit faster? Well, then you might consider one of these, owned by the TripleF collection. The Bugatti Chiron, the Pagani Huayra, or the McLaren Speedtail. A holy trinity of hypercars that can all reach 250 miles an hour, which is great if you've got a very, very long straight on a private bit of road. But what do they actually like to drive in the real world? Well, we've come to Ohio in the American Midwest to find out.
Are we living the life or are we living the life?
It doesn't get much better than this. That Bugatti Chiron is absolutely stunning.
And what a legacy of the Bugatti, the Veyron, of course, was the first, I think, hypercar when it arrived in 2005 with 1,001 horsepower, launched itself to a speed record of 253 miles an hour. It sort of changed the world from supercars to hypercars.
And now Bugatti has moved on from those pokey 1,001 horsepower days. The Chiron's 16-cylinder engine produces a much more useful 1,500 horsepower. But before we get to that, what else do you get for your money?
But I love the fact that this car, we've got the traditional Bugatti blue, which I love. You know, I've got a steering wheel, the upholstery, the colour, it's just wonderful to sit in.
No infotainment screen. It's very simple. It's supposed to be elegant.
But also the interior is so simple, really. I've just got a wonderful little binnacle in front of me with the speed, the revs. We're cruising along at 50 miles an hour, 2,000 RPM. Lovely little dials in the middle for your heating controls. And that's it. What more do you need?
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And the finish is just incredible. Everywhere you look, it's perfect. There's nothing out of place, is there? Come on, Tiff, let's see what it's got. Put your foot down. Just a little squirt.
Just click it down to third.
Second.
First, then just give it a bit of... that is so effortless. Because you haven't got that sort of harsh engine toe. A lot of hypercars and supercars, we like that engine toe, but you don't realise how quick you're going so quickly.
It's incredible.
It's very comfortable as well. You can cruise a long way in this car. The seating's it's not got sports racing seats. And of course, you've got to remember that it weighs nearly 2 tons. And with a 4-wheel drive on a racetrack, it's not going to outrun the sort of more nimble hypercars. But what it really is a fantastic long-distance bruiser, cruiser. Smiles on our faces all day long.
Sensible road test completed, and with our time up in the Chiron, it was time to talk styling.
You rather like this, don't you?
I'm rather confess I enjoyed driving it more than I thought I would. So effortless, comfortable. So I'm beginning to love driving a Bugatti, but I still can't quite grow to love its looks. I've never liked this blunt, wide nose.
I don't think it's a bad thing at all. And don't forget, it's quite an old design now. It's, you know, it's getting on a little bit in its life, a bit like you.
Always loved the Bugatti grille, though.
Looks superb. I think the whole car looks superb.
But then, what's this big sort of chrome shape? I'm not sure about that either.
That's a C. There's a C from my side. You can see it's a C, and then you get the C on the inside, and of course the C there. So if you look from this way.
But the rims, I mean, come on, look at those Bugatti calipers. I love those rims.
They're lovely, aren't they? The engine, exposed engine. Look at that. W16.
1,500.
1,500 horsepower, 1,500 newton meters of torque. Look at this, light bar, one of the first cars ever to get the light bar.
The Americans do number plates quite well, don't they?
They do, look at that front number plate. What a great looking car, really classy.
One thing though, big cruiser, luggage space. Has this got much?
Pop the trunk, as they say
How far?
over here.
What,
this
in
side
here?
of the pond, yeah. Pop the trunk.
We don't normally do this, but I think these cars need storage.
Well, you said you would like to go on a cruise in this. Good luck with that. You might get a few pairs of pants in there. That's about it.
All right, what's next?
From one mega horsepower hypercar to another, it was time to jump in the Huayra. And not just any Huayra.
This is the BC, the special edition, one of 20 coupes to be built in the world, and it's a bit lighter, a little bit faster, a bit more power.
BC, by the way, is a tribute to Benny Kaiola, Pagani's very first customer and a true gentleman. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but if he were, I think he'd certainly approve.
And of course, there's a nod to somebody else in this car that you may know of. That race number mean anything to you?
No.
Fangio.
Of course, Juan Manuel Fangio, the most famous racer driver ever, possibly.
Right, I'm going to knock it down a couple of gears.
The sound of that. I mean, this is the huge difference with this Chiron, because that's an engine sound that shouts, we're going fast, we're going fast, we're going fast. Whereas the Chiron just explodes like a purring pussycat. You know, they're complete opposites in the hypercar world.
But I think we're going to miss that with electric cars. That's why people like you and I just love to hear that big roar.
I know.
Oh, and the backfire as well. That engine noise is great, isn't it? They've done a brilliant job with this exhaust to get a turbocharged engine sounding that good. It's a little bit clunky when you change gears, still got the single clutch, it's upgraded from the original Huayra, but you get used to it.
What is a Huayra anyway? Where do the names come from?
It's a wind god from South America. Very fitting.
And of course, whilst this V12 only has 764 horsepower, it's almost half the weight of the Chiron. It's 800 kilograms lighter. So we were talking about the Chiron on a track earlier. I mean, this would just blow the Chiron away on a racetrack.
On a racetrack. But in a drag race, the Chiron's going to have this for breakfast.
Yeah. So on the track, it's got this active area, it hasn't the boost, the spoilers up and down. But I mean, already this bucket seat, there's no adjustment. I'm not going to go too far as a passenger in this. We said we'd take the Chiron on a cruise to the south of France. I'm going to go about 200 miles in this and going to save me back.
See, I think it's very comfortable. I think the seats are beautiful.
So the jury's out on the seats, but when it comes to the rest of the interior, we've reached a unanimous decision.
But the attention to detail on any Pagani is just incredible. They are literally like a work of art.
Just look at the gear gate. I mean, just look at that one little piece. That's a work of art. And all this little row of switches and knobs and dials. And look at your little dashboard there. You've got all sorts of information. Too much for you to probably take in at one go, isn't it?
It certainly is.
The steering wheel is like a Grand Prix driver's steering wheel with all the buttons and nozzles. What's your little Manatino here? You can adjust.
So I'm in sport mode, you can go in comfort, you can go in race mode and ESC off as well. So I just enjoy the car. Isn't this incredible?
There is, however, a slight problem with the Huayra, because as incredible as it is to drive, you'll be constantly pulling over to look at it. It really is that beautiful. And wait until you see what other tricks it has up its sleeve.
Ah, that interior really is stunning. And the story with those seats is amazing.
The last ever roll of fabric that did the seats on Fangio's racing cars. It's there.
Look at that front end. Look at all this exposed carbon fibre, that massive splitter at the front.
But I mean, all the detail, the lights, like machine guns firing rockets out the front.
You've got a vivid imagination today. Now, if you go here and just this beautiful leather strap, you open that.
Have we got storage space then, or what?
Well, there isn't a storage space technically, but it looks nice when it's open. Look at that. Look at that underneath the skin.
Oh,
Look at the shocks and the suspension, and it is like a work of art underneath. It's not just what you see with the eye, it's underneath as well.
then at the back, it's got this gorgeous carbon fibre wing and these carbon fibre brake ducts, which I think is unique to this model.
It's a one-off. The person that spec'd this car, it's called a Macchina Volante, so it's unique, this car. So 1 of 20 wasn't rare enough. This is effectively a 1 of 1.
And the active aero at the back, which matches the active aero at the front. I mean, so much goes on in this car.
And the trademark quad exhaust as well for Pagani.
We've got the Macchina Volante again across the back.
Look at that diffuser. Just everything. All that exposed carbon is just magnificent. And of course, the piece de la resistance. You've got a little bit of storage either side. So if you go back to your strap.
Oh, more straps.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm glad we're opening this because look at that engine as well.
Oh, wow.
Magnificent.
The famous AMG etched on the cam covers.
And look at this, Tiff. If the seats weren't good enough, you've got some luggage as well, so you can
I've got one too.
go away for your weekend. Stunning, eh?
Absolutely.
We got another car to drive, though.
You're going to leave it like that, but you just have to walk away from it. I mean, look.
It is a work of art. Look at it.
For most people, getting fuel into the car is not an especially taxing task. You pull up, pump, pay, and carry on with your day. However, when it comes to electric vehicles, or EVs, filling up isn't always quite so straightforward. Electricity might be everywhere, but actually getting it into your car is surprisingly tricky. And in fact, even the language around electric vehicles can be mind-boggling. But fear not, because with the help of this Volkswagen ID.3, we're going to explain it all.
Okay, so first things first, let's start with the battery. Because of course, an electric car's battery is effectively its fuel tank, measured not in litres, but in kilowatt hours. The bigger the battery, the more kilowatt hours of electricity it can store.
This ID.3 has a 62 kilowatt-hour battery. With a full tank of electricity, it should do up to 250 miles before you have to refill. So that's the battery. How do you charge it? Charging from home is the easiest solution. You can do it from a normal domestic plug, but put simply, the electricity is dispensed really slowly. It's like filling up your bathtub with a pipette, drop by drop. So a full charge could take 24 hours or more, depending on the size of your battery. So if you charge at home, you'll want one of these, a dedicated wall box. It's about 3 times faster than a normal domestic plug. So it's a little bit like filling up your bathtub with a trickling tap. They cut charge time down to about 10 to 12 hours. So it's ideal for off-peak, overnight top-ups when electricity prices can be a little bit cheaper.
Of course, not everyone can charge at home. What if you live in an apartment or a terraced house, or even if you have to park 100 yards up the street? In fact, even if you are lucky enough to have a driveway, you will still need to charge when you're out and about.
And that means using the public charging network.
In the UK alone, there are around 35,000 public chargers in 20,000 locations, with another 1,500 more added every single month. Finding them is easy. There are lots of apps and online maps, and pretty much all EVs know where chargers are in their sat-nav.
Charging stations are popping up everywhere. Restaurants, offices, car parks, petrol stations, shopping centres and supermarkets. Some, like this one, are free to use. While we can't complain about free fuel, they're often only the same speed as a home charger. So, if you only pop in to get some essentials, you'll probably only add enough charge to drive a mile or 2 home again.
There are more issues with public chargers. You might have to wait while other cars charge, some might be faulty, usually there's no shelter from the elements, and many require fiddly apps to get them working. But that's not always the case.
Chargers like this one make life easier. All you have to do is plug in, tap to pay, and let the electrons flow.
In fact, contactless payment is becoming the norm on most new charging points. And whereas the chargers we've looked at so far have fairly slow charging speeds, the best public chargers are much, much faster.
This one pumps out electricity at a speed of 50 kilowatts, which means with 30 minutes of charging, you'll add around 100 miles of driving range. If your home charger is like a trickling tap, this one is more like a hose pipe. So it's fast, but it's not the fastest. For that, you need a rapid charger.
Rapid charging hubs are popping up all over the place, normally on major routes and beside motorways. Some even have fancy forecourts with cafes and shops just like traditional petrol stations. Best of all, they offer super quick charging speeds.
In fact, a handful of providers now give you charging speeds of up to 350 kilowatts. That's lightning fast. So this one, in theory, can give you 17 miles of driving range every 10 minutes. Forget pipettes and taps. This one's like filling your bathtub with a fire hose.
But remember, charging speeds slow down above 80% battery level to protect and prolong the life of the battery. So even on ultra-rapid units like this, charging speeds slow down as the battery tops up. Things get even more complicated when it comes to pricing, but in a nutshell, the faster the charger, the more you'll pay.
Ultra-rapid chargers like this one are the most expensive and cost around 70 pence per kilowatt hour in most cases. So a full charge of our ID3's 62 kilowatt hour battery costs about £50. An even bigger battery could cost around £80 or more. But here's the thing, not all EVs can charge at the fastest speeds. Think of it like drinking a pint of water. Some people can down it in one go, others have to take it in sips. Our ID3 can only accept charging speeds up to 100 kilowatts, so it's actually pointless plugging it into an expensive rapid charger like this. So unless you're desperate for a top-up, you might as well find a slower, cheaper charger and save a few quid. Of course, it's cheaper to charge at home, but household energy prices are going up. It all depends on your electricity tariff. Don't get me started on that. But I currently pay around 25 pence per kilowatt hour, so it costs around £15 to fill up the ID3.
So there's a lot to get your head around, and there's still one type of charger we've not yet mentioned.
But for that, we're going to need to swap cars. This is a Tesla Model X, which means I can use Tesla's dedicated charging network. These superchargers were the first proper EV chargers to appear in the UK back in 2014, and Tesla were way ahead of the game. They're fast, reliable, and super easy to use.
You just plug in, and that's it. Your car is linked to your online account, so there's no faffing with payment cards or apps. This foolproof charging is still a huge reason why so many Tesla drivers are religiously devoted to the brand. Okay, so a few supercharger locations are now open to drivers of other EVs, but those are few and far between. Tesla drivers, on the other hand, can use any public charging point as well as the superchargers.
And with charging speeds of up to 250 kilowatts, you can add about 170 miles of driving range in just 15 minutes. And best of all, Tesla has even thought of something to keep you entertained while your battery tops up. Beach buggy racing. Sounds like a bit me. Whoop. This is impossible.
Back in 2020, Aston Martin launched the DBX. The first SUV in Aston's 100-year history, and already it's become the brand's best-selling car. But if the standard 550 horsepower DBX isn't quite enough for you, fear not, because Aston have just launched a beefed-up version.
It's called the 707, which isn't another dodgy double-agent reference. It's 707 for 707 horsepower. That, says Aston Martin, makes this the most powerful luxury SUV in the world. Like the standard DBX, it comes with four-wheel drive and off-road modes for your muddy weekends with your shotguns and your Labradors. But this comes with a track setting too, a finely tuned suspension, and it even has launch control. So the question is, which does it do better? Field sports or motorsports? I think I know the answer to that already.
So we've come here to Anglesey, one of the prettiest and most challenging circuits on the planet. The perfect environment for the world's most powerful luxury SUV.
Right, first things first, because whilst this might have been the world's most powerful, posh SUV when it was launched, it's just been outdone by Ferrari in their first ever SUV, the 725 horsepower Pura Sangue. But who cares? Who cares about another 18 horsepower? What's 18 horsepower amongst friends? You know, as the old proverb says, power is nothing without control. And let's face it, a car weighing 2.2 tons needs quite a bit of control. I guess the question is, can it handle like an Aston? An Aston of old. Car manufacturers often tell us that their SUVs drive like sports cars, but Aston Martin go a little bit further with this 707. They say that it's a sabre amongst a segment of sledgehammers. Who writes this stuff?
The air suspension has been upgraded with retuned damper valves and spring volumes. I'll be honest, I have absolutely no idea what any of that means. But what I do know is it's got 980 Nm of torque. That's freight train levels of pulling power. It's quite incredible.
And the best thing is, it can send all of the power to those rear wheels and then divvy it up again depending on which one has the most grip, which means you can do this. It can also dab the brakes individually as well, just to sling it around the corner even more depending on how fast you're going and what wheel needs it the most. It's just a phenomenal piece of engineering. And speaking of brakes, this has got carbon ceramic brakes, which haven't even faded a hint. But if you put your foot on the brake hard, it pulls 1.4 Gs, which is some serious stopping power. But what's more impressive is how it goes again. With all that horsepower and a beefed up gearbox and quicker changes, Aston reckon the 707 will do 0 to 60 in a, quite frankly, astonishing 3.1 seconds. All I need to do is put it in gear, hold my foot on the brake, race start. That is just crazy. It's a Yobbo car. It's not a family SUV. It's a proper Yobbo car. Oh, this is just something else. It's like witchcraft. It's just, how is this possible in terms of physics? To get a car like this driving around a racetrack as if it's a race car. And it certainly feels different to its rivals. You've got the Bentley Bentayga, the Lamborghini Urus, which are essentially built from the same Volkswagen toolkit. But this was a car built from the ground up. It's got its own brand new aluminium chassis.
Now this is normally where we talk about Aston Martin being as British as a bulldog in a chip shop. And for the most part it is. But that 4-litre V8, well, it's not exactly homegrown. It's German, sourced from Mercedes-Benz, as is the 9-speed gearbox and most of the infotainment system.
I don't think that's any bad thing at all. I guess the question is, does this still have the heart and soul of an Aston Martin? And you know what? I think it does. I think it definitely still looks like one. The regular DBX has got the biggest grille ever fitted to an Aston Martin. This one's even bigger. It's got lots of different contrasts of black and satin black and gloss all over the place, new DR rails. I think it looks quite nice. Cooling for the brakes all going on here. And as you go down the side of the car, these wheels just dominate everything. Standard 22-inch wheels come with the car. These are an optional extra 23-inch wheels. And as you go around the back of the car, you've got the ducktail. You've got an extra little spoiler here for extra downforce. The rear diffuser's split here, and it's all changed a little bit to accommodate these big quad exhausts at the back.
So it's a brutish and sophisticated SUV. But what about the price?
Now, of course, none of this comes cheap. The cost of this car starts at £190,000. It comes pretty much fully loaded. But if you want a few little extras, like these 23-inch wheels, for example, you're going to be paying just over £200,000, which is not exactly PCP money. It's more like mortgage money. But just look at the quality of this cabin, the broguing, the Scottish leather. Everywhere you touch and everywhere you look does feel like real premium quality. At the end of the day, and despite its racing credentials, this is still an incredibly luxurious SUV.
And these days, SUVs are the new GTs. They're what people actually use for long journeys, stuffed full of kids, suitcases and skis. It just so happens that this one will also set a supercar-style lap time if you feel like terrifying your offspring on a track day.
For its long history, Aston Martin has been making some of those beautiful and luxurious Grand Tours and sports cars the world's ever seen, and also some runabouts for the world's most famous double agent. But now he can take his family along too. Room for baby Bond and his mates in the back. I reckon 707 horsepower is more than enough to do the school run.
What we have here then is the new king of the super SUVs. And if the sales success continues, this could be the car that keeps Aston Martin going for another 100 years or so.
This is some car, I gotta say. Some car.
You know, of course, Vicky, in Italy, Maserati is a very famous name that you'd have known about all your life.
Very famous.
But for me, it goes right back to when I was a little boy. I went to Goodwood to watch Sterling Moss drive one of these, the legendary 250F Maserati.
Wow.
Which would go on to take Juan Manuel Fangio to the 1957 World Championship. Whenever I think of Maserati, I still think of this car, the 250F.
I know, it's so much heritage to the company, right?
Because after that, there was no more racing cars, and in the early 70s, they made some good cars, the Merak, the Ghibli, and the Bora, which was their first ever mid-engine sports cars. When the oil crisis came along and the company went down and down, it all went very quiet.
Yeah, but then when I was a little girl, there was the MC12, and oh my God, I love that car.
OK, won the FIA GT Championship, great publicity for Maserati, but everyone knows it was just an Enzo Ferrari with different clothes on.
You cannot say that here.
But now, there's a new mid-engine Maserati, all Maserati, the MC20.
Quite good. You get a lot of turbo coming on. Can you hear the whistle?
Yeah, I'm worried more about the corners than the whistle, to be honest.
Double turbo, but I tell you something, in terms of handling, it's perfect. You really feel it, a nice light car.
You do, yeah,
I mean,
sure
even for these twisty roads, it works well. And do you see it? It just kind of goes. It doesn't completely go.
No.
Okay, but it gives you that little slide.
It doesn't completely go. A little
to have fun, you know? It's a fun car because you don't feel it like too attached in the ground.
It's a long drop down. It's a very long drop.
Did you hear that? Wow!
Yeah, I heard it. But the gear, I was merely asking about the gear change being snappy or not, but you're enjoying it.
No, the gear change is perfect. It just gives the traction control, gives it a little spin, puts a smile to your face.
Well, that's your face, not
but then says
sheer terror to my face.
At the heart of the MC20 is a 3-litre twin-turbo V6. It's actually Maserati's first new motor in years, and they've called it Nettuno, or Neptune, after the god of the sea and his pointy trident. Maserati says it's tuned by special engine doctors, and a quick checkup reveals a healthy 630 horsepower and 730 newton-meters of torque. Weighing under 1,500 kilos, and with all that muscle, it'll go from 0 to 62 in just 2.9 seconds and keep on going to more than 200 miles an hour, if you can find the space.
So It's got quite enough power for these twisty roads, but I tell you something, when I tried it on track, the handling was so good that I actually thought it could do with more horsepower.
What means 630 horsepower is not enough for you?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the car is
able to take more.
Yeah.
So what about driver modes? It's got a little dial. Is that still a Manatino? Or is it...
Maserati's Manatinos. Okay, so we're in GT mode, so it's everyday driving. They really want to be a comfortable car. Go back to sport. And it gets all sporty.
Engine tone sounds a bit more
Yeah,
exciting.
and even like steering wheel's a bit more, stiff. Everything gets a bit more racy. Then you go to Corsa.
Yeah, really on these roads, you think that's a good
Which
idea?
is quite a big step because it completely takes out the traction control.
Yes, yeah, okay, we'll just talk about it. We're going to have to try it now.
And you can even go a step higher and take everything completely off.
I believe you. No, I do believe you.
Italian driving lesson completed, it was time to swap places. But first, time for a closer look at the interior, which Maserati call their essential back to basics range. There's an essential steering wheel, some essential seats, and a few essential dials. But for £200,000, I'd expect something a bit more than just essential. Maybe the driving experience will spice things up a bit.
It is instant smile on your face,
I told
isn't it?
you, look at it. It feels like it's fun. It's really fun.
It's that the plainness on board is also the plainness of the dashboard. This digital display, I'd like something more exciting.
You don't need anything, you just need to drive it.
That's true. It's got a nice round rev counter. Steering wheel's almost round. Oh, gosh.
What are you doing? Missing your braking point.
Well, I felt that I don't like the brake pedal. It's another small, it's tiny difference, but I feel it hard to modulate. Just getting a bit of extra braking.
I'll tell you something.
Press it, and then you've got to press a bit harder to make it work. Initially, it's stopping well.
But that's good for an everyday drive, because then it's quite easy to modulate when you just have to suddenly brake.
Yeah.
There is, however, one problem. Just listen to it. If this were a Ferrari or Lamborghini, you'd barely be able to hear me above the screaming engine note. The Maserati is just a bit too quiet. And I thought MCs were supposed to bring the noise.
I'll tell you another thing I've just realised. This is quite a bumpy road. We're in a, really stiff, doesn't body roll. And yet the ride quality is surprisingly good, isn't
I
it?
know, it feels good. I mean, it feels like a GT car, like a, more a voyage car.
And yet it's really comfortable.
Yeah, not stiff, but then it behaves like a stiff car. Do you know what I mean?
It's magic. I mean, this is a comfortable. You can drive a long way on this and not get sort of
it's amazing.
worn
I love
out.
it. Love it.
So we're agreed. Aside from the slightly boring interior and subdued soundtrack, with the MC20, Maserati has created one of the greatest cars in its 108-year history. And that, I think, deserves a toast.
So, Vicky, a wonderful day out in what I thought was a surprisingly good Maserati.
Tiff, I loved that car. I mean, to drive, it's just phenomenal. Actually, it's so good, it could even have a bit more power.
Yeah.
And it could be a bit cheaper as well.
Yeah, it's pricey. But I just think, to me, Maserati's back. That's, to me, the great thing after
Il
so long.
tridente.
Maserati's back. And for all those people that have bought another Porsche or another McLaren or another Ferrari or another Lamborghini, I have a change for you. Buy the Maserati.
They would definitely stand out.
Let's have a toast to Maserati.
A Maserati.
Ciao.
I'll be honest with you, it's a pretty jammy job working on this show. Not only do I get to work with Paul and Tiff, but we get the keys to some of the most exotic cars in the world, from multi-million-pound McLarens to priceless Porsches. So when I was contacted by a new upcoming artist asking if we could sort some wheels for their glitzy new music video, I accepted immediately. My instructions were simple: to sort a suitably showbiz car to star in their video and to move the band and their kit. But there's one problem. With a budget of only £5,000, I was going to have to get a little bit creative. But I think I've come up with the perfect solution.
And this is it. Now I know what you're thinking, but hear me out. Have you seen the price of used cars these days? £5,000 doesn't buy you much. But this, however, is a little gem.
It is, of course, a Citroën C3, specifically a 1.6 HDI exclusive from 2010. There's plenty of room for the band and there's some quirky French styling for the video. The best thing is this car is only covered 29,000 miles. There's a load of life left in it for all those miles on tour. And if it does go wrong, it's cheap to fix, which means one thing: more money for backstage beers. It's also got a load of A-list VIP features: aircon, cruise control, electric mirrors, electric windows, and the funkiest panoramic sunroof I've ever seen. Perfect because the paparazzi can get all the shots they need of the band. Citroën have sold almost 5 million of these things. It's a proper fan's favourite. I mean, that's 5 million people who surely want to see this in a proper blockbuster music video.
Talking of which, allow me to introduce the stars of the show. Meet Connell Kelly. An ultra-catchy indie pop outfit from Bristol. That's just down the road from me.
Honestly, I think they are going to absolutely love it. All right, lads, what do you think?
Mate, where's the Lambo?
Hey, you can't buy much now for £5,000 with second-hand car prices, trust me.
We meant maybe hire something? Seriously, like Ferrari, Rolls Royce for a few hours, maybe. Where's all the equipment going to go?
Okay, so I might have forgotten about fitting their equipment in, but I'm sure they'll change their mind once we hit the road.
So how fast does it go then?
Well, it's got a 1.6 litre diesel engine, but it's got 90 horsepower and 112 mile an hour.
Speak up, sunshine.
90 horsepower and 112 miles an hour.
I'll admit it's not a lot, but it's plenty for getting them to gigs.
Come on then, show us.
Well, you want to see?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. Sorry about that, lads. Hang on. Oh.
Okay, so it does have a few foibles. Apart from that, I'm still convinced it's a little belter of a car.
Hey, anyway, lads, look, I didn't blow all the budget on the car. I actually had a little bit left over. And I have booked, I reckon, it's the best location that you could film your music video ever. Honestly, so excited.
Yeah. We're saying like, what, Albert Hall, O2, Wembley?
Sadly, our budget didn't stretch quite that far. But I did have something up my sleeve. Our trusty test facility. Plenty of space and no neighbours to moan about the noise. All I had to do was get them there.
Do you know where we are?
No idea.
Okay, cool.
Eventually, I found my bearings, and after a bit of convincing that this was the perfect location, the band began to set up their gear. And while they warmed up, I got their rider ready, moved the car into position, and we were ready to start. Take it away, lads. After buying the car and hiring the location, I still had a few quid left over for one final surprise. Because every music video needs some special effects.
Earlier on, Tiff and I were busy testing a trio of hypercars, and with the Bugatti and Pagani safely returned, it was time to hit the road in our final contender, the McLaren Speedtail. The only question was, who would win the fight for the keys?
Who's that? It's Brett. Does he know what he's doing?
I think he knows what he's doing. Brett, this car is unbelievable.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Have you done much driving in it?
Yeah, quite a bit. I would say I'm the token McLaren Speedtail guy, so quite a bit of seat time.
The streamlined Speedtail is the spiritual successor to the famous McLaren F1, a car Tiff tested when it first arrived in the early 90s. Sadly, the F1's wailing 6-litre V12 engine is gone, replaced by McLaren's ubiquitous 4-litre V8. Thankfully, though, they kept the central driving position, with room for 2 big kids either side of the driver.
But this seating position, I feel like I'm in a railway looking out the window here, watching the world go by.
It's quite comfortable, actually. Quite a bit of room.
Okay, and it weighs about 1,600 kilos, so that's got a power to weight ratio of about 670 horsepower per tonne. So it's about halfway between the two. But I mean, we talk about power, they all go to 62 in about 3 seconds. They all do about 250 miles an hour. They're just all awesome machines. Let's hear some blips. Yeah, it gets more exciting.
But enough of all that. This is a sensible test, remember, so it's time to talk interiors.
Hasn't got the fanciest of dashboard displays, though.
But it all surrounds you. It's full of tech. Look at all this in terms of the technology. And it's got things like directional leather, so it helps you get in the car with the leather, but it sort of keeps you in the car when you're in the car, so it's very bizarre. But it's also got, you like this, so the sun's in your eyes a little bit. You can tint this glass.
Driver, tint the glass, please, driver.
Thank you, driver.
There you are,
Oh,
sir.
there we go. See that? Amazing.
Ooh. That's a bit dark, please, driver. Can we open it again? That's
And
better. Look,
it's
done.
because of this beautiful, sleek design, there's no wing mirrors. But the wing mirrors, when you're on full velocity mode, come back into the car.
But just looking. Oh, you've got screens.
Exactly. So normal driving, you've got the screens like this.
How do you like those, Brett, driving? Are they realistic, you reckon, those mirrors?
It takes a while to get used to. There's really no depth perception to them, so back in the car end takes quite a bit to get used to. Another reason why with the electrochromatic glass here that darkens the interior is there's no sun visors here. So something very unique to the Speedtail as well.
And in terms of numbers, super exclusive. Only 106 Speedtails were made, which of course was the same number as the amount of McLaren F1s that were made.
Ah, yeah, but that included all the racing versions. Only about half of that number were the actual original short-tailed F1s. My favourite supercar forever was that car.
I think this is phenomenal. This car, in the flesh, just looks like a spaceship gliding along these roads.
Ooh.
That's clever.
Quite a machine. But the big question for me is, do you like the Speedtail? I'm still think the jury's out.
I tell you, I didn't like it. After seeing it in the flesh, I love it. I think it's exquisite. See this badge here?
Yeah.
Platinum.
Platinum. Why not? Why not?
Well, if you're going to spend
And
this sort of
here,
money.
these little secret flaps.
They're active aero, but it's got bendy paint, bendy carbon fibre. The carbon fibre is actually infused with a bit of titanium for extra strength all the way through. This is exposed carbon. It's just a work of art as well. It's stunning. It's beautiful.
And this air scoop, I think this is an extra to add to some models. Can have his air scoop.
Only about $150,000 extra.
Why not have that as well then?
So $80,000 for your badges and $150,000 for that. You can buy a nice house for that where I live. And look at these front wheels. I've never seen anything like it, really.
Well, they're arranged now. Formula One's got those.
Well,
that's
everybody.
for drag,
so
isn't
to
it?
reduce the drag, exactly. And then at the front as well, you've got another one of these platinum badges. You can even see the hallmark on it. It's just quite incredible. Do you want to see what it's like for storage if you want to go away for a weekend? Front first. After you.
Oh.
Fitted luggage, of course. That'll be another extra.
Carbon fibre, of course.
Beautiful. And then
smell the leather. The quality is there.
I'll take your word for it. And there's more at the back. Have a look at this. It's really quite cute, actually. As you'd imagine, a long tail. It's got another little bit of space. That's deep, isn't it?
Yeah.
Plenty going on
It
there.
wins the luggage department, doesn't it, compared to the other two?
Hands down. What a stunner.
Long, though.
Yeah, 5.1 metres long.
But what a day. I mean, what 3 amazing hypercars. And there you have it. 3 of the most exotic, exclusive cars money can buy. If, of course, you have an awful lot of money. So which one wins our real-world test? The Speedtail, a hypercar for almost all the family? The Huayra, with its blend of science, art and engineering? But we love the big Bugatti, the hypercar for the long haul, or even the long way home.